So welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to our cohort 6. We have cohort 7, you all starting. You all are getting to be old, experienced, wise students, wise cohort 6. And we have 22 people coming in with the next cohort. We have like 7 or 8 for next fall already. We are just, I get inquiries every day. And the quality of the students is amazing. You all are a representation of that, of being so interesting from so many different backgrounds, so many different perspectives. And just at the core, really what connects you all is this commitment to high performing human centered organizations. I think that's essentially what we focus on is how do we transform organizations, revitalize communities, and develop human potential, all focused on high performance through a human-centered approach, which is the social and behavioral sciences, human relations, and those kinds of things. And that's what connects you all. And and what also connects you all is you all have such cool backgrounds. You all really do cool things, and everywhere, but you are uniquely interested in knowledge. You all are lifelong learners. And so when you take you all as old people, you all are older people compared to our students that are in the classroom, and I'm teasing, right? Because we're all old people. But when you take the traditional student who's 19, 18, 19 years old, figuring out life, you all in a whole different world. You're a whole different kind of professional, and it's a professional doctorate. And so you come in with this lifelong learning commitment. Not everybody's like that. You all know that, right? You all know not everybody that you work with cares to go get a doctorate at your stage. That's just really kind of crazy. Really? They look at you, what? You're doing that? Don't you have enough on your plate? Don't you have enough to think about? Don't you have enough to do? How do you manage all that? How do you make it work? All that stuff. You have some kind of belief, and I honestly really believe this. You fundamentally believe in humanity. Why would you do this if you didn't believe the world could be a better place, had hope, and believed that what you're going to research and what you're going to work on could actually make a difference? Why? Why write a dissertation if you think nobody's going to benefit from it? Why study and put something out there if you think it's a waste of time? Why learn how to do all this stuff and learn all the science and try to put it into new knowledge that you can share with people unless you thought it was going to be scalable? Because that's what you're doing. You're making that passive difference through your scalable knowledge. And the minute you write a book or do an article and someone reads it while you're sleeping, you're making a passive difference in their lives, like passive income. So, I just think it's amazing. And when you look at this new cohort coming in, they're going to be awesome. And one of the things that we're going to do in the first residency, and then I'll turn it over to Joe to talk with you all, and I'll answer any questions that you all have. Um, in the first residency on Saturday, we're going to do an elongated lunch. And we're going to do a World Cafe kind of talking experience and have you all talk to each other, have questions come out, and we're going to do our best to transfer the best of you all to this cohort. What do I mean by that? I want you to transfer your work ethic to them. I want you to transfer to them a generative mindset. I want you to transfer to them a belief that change is possible in our world and that this is worth it. That it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. I want you all to give them tips on how to, get off to a good start and what makes for a great cohort. How can they build a great community and cohort? Those kinds of things. So I'm hoping that you'll infuse into them all the good stuff that you all have in your cohort, and also create a more of a broader learning community because we quite haven't done that yet. We have individual cohorts, but we haven't created a more of a whole community. And but believe me, we need individuals, groups, and the whole system, and the whole class, and the whole system as all elements. We need our small little group of friends that we want to go spend time with. We need that one person I'm going to talk with. We need the cohort to be together. You all need to have your cohort experience. But I also would love to have a combined cohort community and start having that identity. And we need to allow for all of that to coexist so that we can have our way of bringing that bringing all of that, connection and different kinds of connections together into a rich environment. And so I hope that you all will help bring some health into our program. And I think we do have a healthy program, but I'm hoping that we'll intentionally bring some health into the program. And I really look to you all, and I have a great deal of respect for everybody here. And if everybody else was here, I can tell you for sure, as I look at each and every one of you, you have a unique way of bringing that mindset and that value into everything that you do in our program so far. So we're going to do something that afternoon. So Joe, thanks for making the time, and we're going to kind of have that there. The second thing is we're going to launch the Change 2025, and we're not going to do a day during the, remember when we had a day? We're going to do weekly, and I have got the best selling authors. And Sean, you might have the list that you could show because I don't have time to grab it because Sean's going to be one of the speakers. But we have best sellers, including Joe as well. People that are thought leaders that are out there making a big difference. And so they're going to be speaking every Thursday at 11, and you're going to love them. Boyatsis. We got the Boyatsis to, let's see here.
David Coughlin, beer at Harvard.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for doing that. I'm jumping around trying to.
I was reading it yesterday when he sent it to me, and I was impressed, and and marking my calendar already. So I'm right there with you. It was easy to remember.
David, Sandra Janoff, to Fred Miller and Judith Katz, to the list goes on and on. Michael Beer, and so forth. And so they're going to be great groups speaking, and every Thursday at 11, all the way through to December, they'll be speaking on very hot topics that they're working on. So I encourage you all to be a part of that. And that's hopefully helping us to ground you all in that. So with that, the only other thing I would say is Joe is working really hard. He's to create a great class for you. And this is his first time teaching this class. And maybe, I don't know, Joe, if it's your first time teaching working professionals where the average age is close to 50. Have you worked? I can't remember. Have you worked with working adults?
Not leading. Well, my professional career.
Have you taught working adults? Is what I
mean. Just in a support role, not as the lead instructor. At Wayne State, but yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, and so thank you for stepping into this because this is a new space for you to build your competencies around this particular group. And I know that you are what I find is very open to feedback. You're curious, you want to learn, and you care to do a really great job, and you really are super talented and wicked smart. So, and you got great background. So you all are going to really enjoy Joe. And my ask is that you all do a really good job individually, collectively, in supporting him and being successful. I think that's important. And then I'll see you during the residency. And you know what we're doing on Saturday night of the residency? Do y'all know?
Your house.
No.
Not yet. Different this time. I didn't tell him anything yet.
No sunset.
But you are welcome. The next maybe like the no, not
November.
I think we could do something maybe I can't remember what day. We'll talk about
November. Okay.
Saturday, Bowling Green soccer team is playing that night, and we're going to do a tailgate and soccer game, and you're right on the field, and they are a great team to watch.
That sounds like fun.
Go to a BGS.
Nice, I didn't know that. Very cool.
Match that night. Yeah, and so that'll be on Saturday night. So more to come, obviously, and we'll have faculty coming in for an event during that residency as well on one nights for you all to kind of continue to network and stuff like that with them. Other than that, I want to give Joe some time, but are there any other questions or any questions or things that you all have about the program or just things in general that you have before I switch it over?
I have
no questions. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So if we were to start reaching out to faculty now, they wouldn't be like, why is this person reaching out to me? Like if I wanted to just email someone that I'm interested in. And
you look at the list of faculty, we'll get everybody on there. Jillian will help us build out and we'll talk about, because again, there's different people. There's people that can be on the committee only, people that can be chairs or on the committee. And then there's people that can serve as GFR, graduate faculty reps. We handle that a little different. Don't worry about that. All you need to worry about for the fall is your chair. That's it. If you worry, don't worry about the other members of your committee. Your chair knows who they like to work with or different kinds of people. So you let them manage that part of the experience. They'll make sure you get the right committee. The only thing you need to worry about is when you look at that list is who you can have as a chair. And anybody on there, including Joe, can be a chair if they want to. In my opinion, we might have to talk with the deans and stuff like that, but I think they're ready. They can do it. They're all at a point where they can do it. So so you can ask, and then we'll worry about getting it all approved second if they want to do it. Does that answer your question, Jillian?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure the faculty wouldn't be like, why are they reaching out to me
No,
now?
they're expecting. Yeah, and thank you for saying that.
Bugging me.
The other thing I would add is what you want to do is look at their profile, AI them, no longer Google them. You don't Google people anymore, you AI them. And so look them up, read their stuff, check them out, see what you can, and so forth. And then just reach out and say, hey, I'd like to talk with you about the possibility. And you could even share, this is the kind of the area that I'm interested in if you want to, and say, I'd like to talk with you about dissertation. I like your work for this reason, or I think you found you interesting for this reason. I'd like to talk with you. That's it. And you just have a nice chat. They'll be, they'll say, yeah, I can talk here. If you ever have any issues or problems, you always reach out to me and Teo. We will make sure you have someone and you are not stressing about getting a chair. Promise you that. Okay. So who else had their, Eileen, you had your?
My question is for Joe, though.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So hold on to that. So because you get into Joe's class, I want to get all the kind of general stuff out. I think Sean, you had something.
Good.
Okay. Let's see here. I think there was one other, I'm not sure.
Unless you had an idea you wanted me to talk about.
No. It's no, I just think that I thought you had raised your hand. I'm sorry. So Nick, how are you doing? You're doing good with things?
Yep, just started a new job, so a lot of layers that I'm navigating right now. And I got my first paid consulting gig recently, so that's exciting. It'll be
That's
coming up
awesome.
next month, so things are good.
And Nick is working with the Toledo
Toledo Parks and Youth Services.
Right, for the event. And so he's actually making progress on that. So Joe, what we did in that is we do a social impact project. We brought them in and we helped them design an event to bring the community together around a critical issue. In this case, it was around youth and in Toledo and youth services. And so after we're done, we say, would you like us to facilitate that event for you? And then some of us pro bono, some of the students pro bono go and help them go through a design process and put on the event. So Nick is handling that. So thanks for doing that, Nick. And you'll be following up with people more on that as we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I did have a question. If it's okay to ask now, I put it in the chat, but I was just curious. I sense that perhaps the policies may have changed, and I just wanted to have a clarity on what required attendance policies are, and if there's changes to the excused absence criteria.
Yeah. Okay. So, did you see the policy that I put out in the spring? Did you all see that when I put it out in the spring?
Yeah.
I can put that out again. Some of you are kind of, so in general, so it came up in the spring, the committee met, and that policy came out. And so essentially, basically, attendance is required. If you can't attend, then you can't get credit for the class, not because you've done anything wrong. It's just an essential element of the class. So if you can't attend the class, you can't get credit for the class. In terms of if you can't attend the residency, you can't get credit for the class. Therefore, we would have to look at alternatives like taking the class at a later time or some of those things. There is the ability to propose, and the deans have been quite strict, if you will, about this. Basically, that it's illness, documented illness, bereavement, or child birth. So basically, those are the things that they're looking at. And those are things that come up unexpectedly because they want requests to be within a month. But sometimes you don't know. Under those three circumstances, you may not know. So you don't need to have a month to like, but if you or think there's something outside of those three that warrants consideration, you need to get it in early so that they can talk about it and look at it. And there's rationale behind that. Has to do with everything from what would be the laundry list of potential conflicts and this and that could happen that aren't convenient, and it just gets to become, as several of them said, a slippery slope, because it's about equity, fairness, and also maintaining the integrity of the experience. I will only also add that 6-7 years ago, there was a policy where you could miss like 4 hours in the master's program before this program, where you could miss up to 4 hours and then create an alternative. We could create alternatives. And what happened was, as soon as it was announced, within a year, almost everybody, more than half the students, were missing 4 hours of residencies. Everybody was missing that 4 hours. Like it was like you'd walk in and there'd be people leaving for meetings, leaving to do this, leaving to do that. People were just, and it was like, well, why didn't it happen before? And that kind of thing. But what happened was students were getting really upset because they're coming and you all fly in from way far away, a lot of you, and you expect the time during the residencies to be well spent, be worth your time. Okay. You don't want to waste any time. It should be time. What you do at residency should be things that you can't otherwise do. Right. And so that's what the feedback I get from you all. So that kind of supports the notion that the residencies are essential. So I know I'm taking a long time to explain that, but Deshaun, does that answer the question?
Yeah, that clarifies things quite a bit. So basically, when I get measles, I need to show up.
No.
Oh.
What did I say? Illness, bereavement,
there are exceptions. Okay.
and childbirth, right?
Right.
And those things happen. So let's say that happens, and you miss the entire residency. What is likely what happens is we can try to get you there virtually, but a lot of time that's a problem because students don't want the residencies. A lot of times they don't want them being sent out on the internet, particularly when we're talking about sensitive things and you're sharing stuff in some cases. But it does happen on some occasions. It is streamed as long as it's not recorded, right? So you have that happen. But let's say someone misses the entire thing. And it's under the faculty member has to create a whole new class experience, so to speak, and has to figure out ways to accommodate that student. And so in some ways, it's like creating an independent study. And that can happen in rare cases because it is a lot of work, or somebody has to intervene and come in and create the alternatives to missing the residency. And so they want to make sure that's kept to a minimum around those extreme cases. So,
in the Army, when someone would like sever a limb, they would tell you to rub a little dirt in it, and you'd still carry out your mission. So, I'll try not to be that extreme.
Yeah, well, you're bringing your military humor into the situation, so because Joe needs to have time with you. He's got a great class. It's a really important first class in your series for this next year. I will say that the things are going to amp up a bit for you in these classes as you go into them, but know that every one of the faculty are committed to your success. Okay. Any other questions before I turn it over to Joe? All right, Joe.
Yeah. I'm still new to these cohort meetings. Are we wrapping up at 1:30, or does everybody stick around as long as they can? What's the general?
No, you got till 2.
Oh, okay. I thought the last one was a half hour. Great. A few things, just kind of housekeeping. One,
Joe, can I ask a question? Because the email said 12:30, so I got a hard stop. So one thing that's different that I saw in your syllabus is that you scheduled a 2-hour class. We have not had a 2-hour virtual class as of yet in the program. Most of the time our classes are an hour, so I guess that's maybe you and Dr. Katie. As we ramp up, is that going to be the norm because that's during the workday? And I know they're recorded.
Let me jump into that for Joe. I'll just answer that because it does happen in the research classes. People want more time.
Okay.
It does get recorded. It is more likely to happen during the research classes.
Okay.
Because people need you just need more support and more iterative touches and more time.
Okay.
Okay. So it
So
does
plan
happen a
accordingly.
bit more like that. It may not happen in this class. It could be that way. I could see it depends on the instructor. I know for sure Truett is doing that, and I think it's happening in the 4th class. So
okay, thank you. That was my only question. I will listen to the rest of the recording. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Bye, Eileen.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, let me do a little housekeeping from some of the things that were mentioned, and I guess I'll start there. Yeah, so if the Canvas site is launched, the syllabus is up. The syllabus does contain the residency attendance language that Steve was referencing. So if you want to see that in black and white, that's an easy place to find it. I do, probably one thing to note is, yes, I have kind of a standing 2 hours, Tuesday, 12 noon to 2, where there will be an optional Zoom meeting. My reasoning for the 2 hours, I don't know what other faculty necessarily do, but from talking to Truett, who does like quantitative methods, or Janelle, who ran this class the last couple of cohorts, it sounded like that's what their students want. When you get more into the methods and the statistics and kind of the research side of the thing, maybe a bit further from the content side, that face-to-face discussion was important to the students and really what those faculty members thought the students preferred. So every Tuesday I had this 2-hour blocks. Some Tuesdays I might have department meetings. Maybe we'll start at 12:30. Like I said, they'll be recorded. I also have 3 floating evening like hours set aside. That's also in the syllabus for maybe some of you that can't have a hard time making the lunch hour, and a little evening FaceTime would be great. Those are more of a secondary backup for some kind of just face-to-face time for those who may need it. So at this point, those are placeholders, but those are all my intentions, to have those there. And we'll go over some content. We'll probably spend some time on kind of that week's content, maybe questions from the previous week, and then breakout groups, one-on-one time, obviously with cohorts this big, maybe more like breakout one-on-one type time where we can really focus on your research, your questions, where you're at. I mentioned this last cohort meeting is that this class is kind of the gateway into research. So we go kind of from what are kind of the types of research that you've heard: applied, action, more of the academic. What are those research methods, those quantitative, those qualitative, which are your next classes kind of in this research process. So you'll get an introduction to qualitative, quantitative, kind of the big research concepts or programs, and then you'll have those follow-up classes with Truett or Deb more into the nuts and bolts on, okay, how do I do a quantitative regression analysis like I would do in a certain type of dissertation, or how do I properly do an ethnographic interviews and everything if you're doing more of a qualitative dissertation. So this class kind of kicks off that process. So again, those meetings are optional. I'll record them. I have a couple backups. I'm more than open to meeting one-on-one, for quick Zooms that fit into your schedules to talk about your specific research idea. Because that's really the 2 goals of this class. One is kind of the gateway into research, learning that research language. I used that term last time, but doing that within the context of your own research program, going kind of from the ideas and the lit review you have now into research questions, and then really starting to mold, okay, how could I test that? What type of analysis would I need? And then that's kind of really an iterative process, and it just kind of, your question change, you think about, okay, how would this work? And then maybe you see some points of potential failure there, and that circles back into your question. You learn, and so that's the process. Really the goal for those 7 weeks is to, while learning the content in the language of research, to go down that process with your own ideas, and come out the other end that much closer to your potential dissertation topic. Yeah, Robert.
Oh, I think you just answered my question. So we don't necessarily need to come into this class nailed down with a dissertation topic, but it sounds like we should have an idea.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to open up some more on Canvas this weekend, but week one literally starts with 10 research questions. And we're, even from content perspective, what is a good research question? And how is that different from a passion or a research idea? And then we go from research questions to, hey, pick, we'll get some feedback on those, group feedback, my feedback, pick the one you like the most. And again, it's going to change. My dissertation topic changed multiple times, and then even once the research questions being massaged and then how you test it changes, or your goal for this chapter changes, or you have to make some decisions because, hey, that sample I thought I was going to get fall through. So the whole process is iterative. But yeah, we're going to start from basically where you're at right now with your ideas and your lit review and what you're passionate about, and then get into research questions, hopefully settle on, one, and then play with that, and fully with the expectation that those can still be tweaked. But yeah, that's that's the nuts and bolts and the goal for the class, and really getting into residency and working on your ideas while kind of learning this research language, and those two just go back and forth.
Thank you.
Yeah. One other thing I'll add is, I really, I know Eileen put it in the chat and she left, but she said kind of how she loved Steve's intro to this class, or into this in this meeting, kind of about what makes you all special, and kind of makes you a little crazy to be doing this mid-career, and just that pursuit of knowledge or wanting to make a difference and all that. And I talked about this last cohort meeting. I don't want to get too much into my background today because we're going to go into it on Tuesday for those that attend. But that's one of the things I'm most excited about in teaching you all and being a part of this program is, I think that's my story too. I was a second career PhD, 10, 15 years in industry, small business owner, and kind of had that passion for, not that I want to do more, but I want to do more. I want to do something different. I want to learn. I want to be at a university or teaching, doing research. So I think I have that same passion, that pursuit of knowledge, doing a PhD at a stage in your life where you got a lot of stuff going on, married. I had my first kid 2 months into it, and had my last kid while I was doing my dissertation on the job market. So, I've been there with you. I also had no research experience going into my PhD. So I sat in that class and read an article for the first time and thought, what language is this in? And you got a dictionary open in one hand and a research article in the other. I've been there. So I think there's a lot of similarities. I'm really excited to kind of share my journey and reflect and, offer guidance, or kind of how it went for me, while learning about all of your, very impressive backgrounds and research ideas, and how you're all gonna, change the world and increase humanity and all that. So that's the connection I'm most excited about, on top of the material, which I did learn to love through my PhD process as well. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Like I said, the syllabus is up. The Canvas site is live. I'll open up kind of week 1, week 2 this weekend as I'm just tweaking some things. Some little things might change. If I, update the syllabus, I'll let you all know. We'll meet on Tuesday, kind of the same lunch hour. That's just what works best for me. I actually commute to BG, so I'm there all day Tuesday and Thursday. So that Tuesday midday before I teach my undergrad class is a good time for me to be at an office, not with the little kids at home. You can see here, I'm kind of in my basement. I had an office when my son was born a year and a half ago. It became his bedroom. So I'm in the process of, kind of like Jillian said, updating my basement office, but I can never find the time to finish it. So that midday time slot, I'm on campus. I can focus. It'll be great. Again, optional. I'll record it, and then I'll have some other opportunities for FaceTime as well. So yeah, I don't want to go too much into my background. Oh, you think, yeah, this is the back side of our bar. If I spun this camera around, you would see what our playroom looks like. So there's hundreds of toys. So I think, like I said, a lot of similarities here with you all. So, but yeah, on Tuesday, we're gonna kind of start talking about, just going through this research journey. I'm going to use my kind of research background as an example for a couple of, what a research question can look like or how you could test it. And just the reason I wanted to do that too is you can learn a bit more about me from the research perspective, because to the other things Steve mentioned, yeah, I'm happy to chair a dissertation. You know, I've been approved for one at this point. I'm on I just joined my first committee. So as you get to learn about my research and my methods and my background, and you know, we interact. You know, hopefully one of your dissertations I can chair as well. So yeah, I'll stop there. Any questions, comments, ideas? Sure, just shoot it out. Yeah.
So I read through just the modules that I didn't have a chance to read everything yet, but the modules that you put out there, and it looks like each week there is a discussion board post that is expected on a Saturday. Now, do we also reply to the other? Okay, we do. I'll also reply to our cohort on there.
Yeah. So the class really breaks up into 3 parts. So the first 3 weeks, really 3.5, first 3 weeks, it's set up with a Saturday night, you know, deadline for posting. Like in week 1, it will be your 10 research questions. And then I have till Monday night for a reply to, I actually went through everybody's bios and kind of did some pairing based on people that I think might have similar ideas, interest, context they want to study. So yeah, then you have 2 days to reply. So that starts off, and that pretty much goes the first 3 weeks. Residency is its own animal, and then the last 3 weeks, there's some other assignments. It's less on the discussion board and more working towards a final 5 to 7 page research proposal. So I think the class kind of chunks into 3 parts. That Saturday, Monday, that was from talking with Janelle. She had on a Saturday, Sunday that eventually individuals thought was kind of a tight timeline. So, you know, I'm kind of starting from where the previous faculty who ran this course thought worked best for her, you know, cohort 5 or cohort 5. So kind of starting there. If things, you know, we'll see if it works out as good as I hope it does.
So we do then, is there a certain number of people you want us to comment on when we are making, or?
Yeah, I for week 1, I think it was just 1-to-1. Yeah, 1-to-1 providing feedback. I do plan on getting us into some breakout groups. Kind of, this group I thought fell in pretty well into 5 groups of 4, or one of 3, based on kind of general research topics. So we're kind of going to bounce around our little subgroups, hopefully learning about each other's research. And then my thought now is I'll potentially reevaluate those, maybe going into residency for some workshopping, depending on where everybody's at with their ideas and what type of analysis they think they might be trending into and all that. So I got a plan right now, and then I want to leave it open where I don't want anybody to be pigeonholed into a group or a space or an idea, because it is going to change. It's just that's the nature of research, especially dissertations. You know, week to week, class to class, you know, your ideas get developed.
Thank you.
No problem.
The due dates are Saturday night and Monday night.
For the first 3 weeks. Yep. For the first 3 weeks. And then then there's residency, and then there's the weeks after that, I believe it's going to be like a Sunday night, just kind of get the ones, a lot of action research assignments, get those in. And then, you know, I think your final presentation or research proposals due on 10/10, which is kind of the last day. And then I give a couple day buffer, so you're not going up all the way into Sunday, just for a peer response on somebody else's idea. So trying to work all that, and you know, we'll see how it shakes out.
That sounds great. Just one request in terms of I appreciated you outlining the 3 parts, the first, second, third, the second being the residency. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is kind of the way it worked out.
All right. Just request from, if you will, just consider just to kind of take it easy on us in terms of people who are traveling, coming in for the residency. Typically, I've seen classes where they just stack everything in deadlines. And it's like, as you're trying to pack and travel with work, and then it's kind of like a setup for just constantly being late. So just throwing it out there for
Sure. Yeah,
consideration.
I actually think again, this is something I adopted from Janelle, the previous faculty, but that short week leading up into residency, it's actually just one it's getting your IRB approval done. So I think it's a much more reasonable week with the hopes that if you have some additional time to kind of read ahead and get into that content for residency. So I think that should fit what you said, Wasim.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
I try to be my best to be intentional about how I design these types of things. Whether this class undergrad, and maybe it's my engineering background, but I kind of try to just start off in the best place I can, and then things change as they do. Anybody else?
I just want to voice my appreciation for your background and how, I think that a lot of us are going to connect in a unique way with just your journey and where we may find ourselves in our own journey. So I'm excited.
I am too. I totally agree. So hopefully that's coming through, because I do feel that way about it. And I like sharing my story too, because I think it is a bit unique in the PhD world. Although my cohort, to kind of how Steve was talking about it, at Wayne State, where I got my PhD, it was similar. A lot of just working adults, kind of in that second career life phase, kids, families. So to Steve's point about kind of building that camaraderie across your cohort and cohorts before and after, ours were much smaller. I actually finished mine as the only PhD student. So you think that's fun, sitting in a class with just your faculty going through 5 academic articles with nowhere to hide. As I said, I've been there. So, but I have good relationships with the cohort before me and after with Wayne State and my faculty. So I come in here fully expecting that, great relationships with all you, and hopefully that you all feel that amongst each other as well.
Thank you, Doc.
Yeah, I'm open to questions. So in that, or I just want to save a little bit of kind of my background for Tuesday, because some of you, I don't feel like you need to hear it for the 3rd time already. Turn it into a broken record.
See if the story changes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, always a chance.
I'm going to jump off. Thank you for this, and I'm going to try to make it on Tuesdays, because research is not my background, so I'm looking forward to learning as much as I can.
Absolutely. I think learning a new language or gateway into research, however, whatever the metaphor is, I think that's kind of the goal for this class within the context of your own ideas and the journey that those are going to go on towards your dissertation. So that's what we're going to be doing.
Awesome. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody.